in his writings, Dogen looks at reality from 4 different points of view. And the first of those 2 points of view we're quite familiar with in Western civilization, the idealistic or philosophical or intellectual point of view. Discussing things theoretically as a matter of principle, identifying themes, generalizations, and so on. And Dogen does that in the Shobogenzo. Often at the start of every chapter, he'll lay out his philosophical viewpoint. And then he switches to a second point of view, which is a more concrete, materialistic point of view. Often he'll quote stories about real people, well, ostensibly real people, masters of the past, and he uses common stories for that. So instead of talking about something theoretical, he's bringing it down to a practical level. These 2 points of view we use all the time. Our whole civilization is based on those 2 points of view. You could say philosophical point of view, or even religious, and the materialistic or scientific point of view. They're the basis of our civilization. Idealism, materialism. And they're all mixed up. I mean, scientists are materialistic in as much as they're looking at the world of matter. They're trying to find the truth by looking at stuff. At the same time, they may be looking at it idealistically. So they may be making theories. And then they concretely test out their theories. So these are not 2 separate points of view, although we can say that people tend to be biased towards one or the other. Some people like intellectual pursuits, they like studies of the mind, they like spiritualism. Other people are more concrete, they like physical activity and, practical things. And other people are a mixture. And of course we use both viewpoints when we try to understand our lives. In Dogen's writings, there's a third point of view. And in his writings, these are the most difficult parts of his writings to understand. What he tries to do in characters, in words, is to describe the real dynamic, instantaneous situation of the world. There's not theory, and it's not talking about solid, stable stuff or stories about people of the past, but he talks about the changing, real, ungraspable nature of the world that we actually live in. And my teacher calls these the philosophy of idealism, the philosophy of materialism, and the philosophy of action. Now, action is a very common word in English, but it has a fairly clear meaning. But Dogen's meaning of action is rather, it includes the normal, action, I'm moving my hand. Action, I'm going to get myself a drink of water. But it includes something more. So if we try to define what Dogen means by action, it's got 5 characteristics. Action always occurs here, this place, and it always occurs now, at this time. So we're not talking about ideas in the future or events in the past, but always about something that is occurring here in this place, now at this time, here and now. In action, the person who is doing the acting and the object being acted upon are not separate. So action makes us whole. So it's here, it's now, it makes us whole. In the moment in which action takes place, there is no good and bad. It's beyond any morality, ethical considerations. Beyond good and bad. And the 5th characteristic of action is it's impossible when acting to reflect on what you're doing. So we can't see ourselves in action. So if you want to know what action is, it's when all those things are satisfied, then in Dogen's terms, in my teacher's terms, that's action. That's Dogen's action, or the Buddha's teaching of action. So, maybe most obvious place it sounds like these things exist is in physical activity, sport, movement, whatever. Seems to be the most obvious place to look. But in the history of Western civilization, there's never been a philosophy of sport. There is now a little bit, sports psychologists and many ways of studying how the body moves and how the mind moves when the body's moving and so on. So we're starting to investigate the nature of action in the West. But in Dogen's teachings, he talks, this is in the 13th century, he talks about the nature of action. And only in action is the world real. That is, only in the state of action do we leave the world of our heads, leave the world of our bodies, and actually exist in the dynamic, changing, whatever it is, what we call reality, beyond the word reality. So what, okay, it's action. Philosophy of action. Well, it's the most valuable periods of our living. The most valuable times of our life, or living, daily life, whatever, the times when we're completely here, completely now. What were the other ones? We don't separate ourselves from what we're doing, and that's something that you can recognise. And that we don't look at ourselves, we don't evaluate what we're doing at the time that we're doing it. We might do a second or a minute afterwards. So those periods are immensely valuable. But in Western culture, we don't give value to those periods. Those periods that we're not thinking, we're not planning, we're not sensing the world with our physical, hearing, seeing, touching, tasting. We're somewhere else. Where are we? We're in the ineffable present moment. And without those experiences of being in the ineffable present moment, we can't live a balanced life. So if somebody stops you being able to act in Dogen's sense, you become very unbalanced. So for instance, somebody shuts you in a room and doesn't let you out, and you can't move around and lead your daily life. You might compensate up here, but after a while you probably go a bit nuts. So the thing that this contributes to our way of examining our lives in the West is this philosophy of action, this realization that a very simple part of our daily life, which we often jump over, want to get past, is the most essential part of our life, but we don't value it. I'm on the computer, I've got to eat this quickly so I can get back to me programming or whatever. Yeah. Whereas the simple action of eating, of course, typing on a keypad is also action. But when you're typing on a keypad, you're probably thinking about what's on the screen. So everybody's acting millions of times a day. But we pass over that, we don't value it. And so we become unbalanced. So without being clearly aware, all the physical activities that have become popular in the last 20, 30, 40 years, yoga, swimming, going to the gym, going for a walk, anything to get us out the world we inhabit normally. Either the world in our head or the world of sensual perception. So this is Dogen's big contribution to a description of reality. more interesting notes?
I may ask, what's the difference between the first two, the idealistic and materialistic? I understand being in action and usual state, but what's the difference between idealistic and materialistic?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
In terms of
experience, human experience. If I know how
the difference between wanting desperately to read a book or wanting to go out and drink some beer or have a big meal, or the difference between anything which takes over our mental capacities, and anything that takes over our sensual capacities. They're not really separate, are they? They're only separate in analysing them.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But you know, if you look at, for instance, the great Western philosophers, you know, Hegel, Kant, what's his name? Schopenhauer. They're thinking about the world, but some of them, their thoughts are more realistic, and some of them, their thoughts are more idealistic.
So, any advice how to give chance to this action in present moment?
Yes.
Accept, practice them, and make space for it.
And to act in the present moment.
If I try to act, I'm analyzing and it's screwed up.
Oh, so you have to act. Throw yourself off a cliff.
Yeah.
Do something without thinking. Anybody who's done martial arts knows that you can see this same philosophy, I call it philosophy, this same attitude to move without planning, without thinking, relying on something else. Am I right? Oh no, am I right? In martial arts?
Yes, during sparring there's not really so much time for thinking. You just have to beat the other guy as fast as you can. No, seriously, I mean...
But to beat the other guy, is it necessary to want to beat them?
No.
What is it necessary to do to win?
Oh, I never wanted to win. I didn't take part in any tournaments. I just wanted to spar for the fun of it, you know.
Okay.
And I didn't want to harm anybody, really.
So what is it you wanted to do? What were you doing in your sparring?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'm just doing the moves, you know.
Yeah.
I'm reacting to his attack, and I'm countering it and trying to engage with this person, to blend with the movements, really.
Okay.
But I was not a good martial artist because I was too compassionate. I didn't want to beat these people. That means I was not aggressive enough. I didn't have that kind of, let's face it, psychotic part. You know? No, it requires, you have to detach yourself a little bit from normal thinking.
Well, I've got a student who's a karate master in London, Goran, and he's written a book called Karate on the Cushion, and it's about his journey to integrate Dogen's teachings with his karate. And for him, in order to be successful in terms of evaluating what you've done afterwards, it's necessary to forget everything about success, everything about winning, and just to act in the moment. And this is the thing that brought him to Zazen. We can see it in sport. I always quote this, although I don't play tennis, it seems very clear to me. If you see a professional tennis match on the television, somebody's going to serve, okay? The person at the other end jumps around like this. Well, of course, they jump around like this to loosen up their muscles, but they jump around to empty their mind. Because if their mind is empty, they can act fully, intuitively, and get the ball. There's no time for them to think when a 130 kilometres per hour ball is coming over at you. So, to me, and of course this is my outside view, no, it's not completely. To be successful in sport, in terms of what you're doing, it's necessary to throw away success. That may also be true in many other pursuits, even in business. Of course, you have a plan. You have a goal. But when you actually act, you have to throw everything away. So, in fact, what we all try to do to be the best we can in a circumstance is to throw everything away. And we often do that without realising it.
What about situations which are not this extreme? The examples you gave is something, it's extreme. Someone is hitting or ball is coming.
Yeah.
How to explain this while brushing the tooth or walking on the garden when there is no this extreme thing which.
What about it?
So the examples you have given, they are about some extreme situation. There's
because they're clearest.
Yeah. So how to experience it in non-extreme situation? I mean, most of my life, I have one experience such as this, but it was extreme situation. How to experience, because most of my life is not extreme, right? I don't fight, I don't fall usually, I don't, how to experience this action in moment without something external which push me to the edge in the moment, some danger.
Well, you're always experiencing it. There's nothing you have to do to experience action. You're always acting. You're waving your hand about there.
Then why I think it's precious or special?
Precious because we cover it up. So while you're acting, you're covering it up with your thoughts about how should I act? Something you're doing now, you're covering up with your thoughts about it, which is what we all do. So everybody's trying to find out how to be a good Buddhist, right? Well, they are already. Everybody's trying to be how to be in the present moment. You are already. It's impossible to escape from it. But why then are we always working out how to do it? Because we can't stop thinking about it. Now thinking covers up the simple action. And the simple action is happening all the time. You stand up, you sit down. as most of us are doing now, we sit still and think. So if we sit still and think, we can say we're not whole, we're not acting.
So we need to move like this always.
So we need to move. Yeah. Well, after a time, you think, oh God, I've had enough of this talk, and you get up and go outside.
Yeah.
When you get up and go outside, you save yourself. You act. Unless on the way out you're thinking, oh, am I going on and on again? Then you cover up your action again. So it's not a question of doing something we're not doing, it's a question of uncovering what we're all already doing and giving value to it.
Mike, don't you think it helps when we stop talking? For example, I notice difference between cycling alone and just acting and feeling happy, or cycling with a friend and he keeps talking or she keeps talking. It's a completely different.
Yes.
Or during summer with Stefan, we were talking and sorting the wood. With Beth, we were not allowed to, or there was nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
We were just washing dishes.
Yeah.
And I could notice I'm just washing, it wasn't even dishes, just action.
Yeah.
I can see, so the only thing we can do is, if possible, do not talk. Then of course, stop thinking is another, just doing and not thinking too much. It helps. But not talking when it's not necessary. Then it helps to just enjoy acting.
Yes. So we could have a silent retreat. However, if we have a silent retreat, many people will feel tension because they can't talk. So it's not that.
Yeah.
So it's silence which finds itself. But you're right. You can see people in the gym, and they're doing exercises on running next to each other, and they're doing the most valuable thing they can do to balance their bodies and mind, and then they're talking to each other, which covers it up. Nishijima Roshi on the tape this morning used the word tainted. That's a word that's used by Dogen a lot. It means not pure, not whole. Most of our lives are tainted because we cover up or divide what we're doing. So we're cycling, we don't just cycle. We pick up wood, we talk while we're picking up wood, and so on. So most of our lives are like that. But the most valuable thing is the action itself. So by understanding it a bit, we can allow ourselves to act when we're acting and not do something else at the same time.
Yeah, it's true. During a completely silent retreat, people may have all kinds of feelings and tension, and it doesn't mean they are just acting.
Yes, that's why I don't have silent retreats, because sometimes I used to get annoyed when people chat so much. But to have a silent retreat is the opposite. But if everybody is silent and realizes that it's okay to be silent, it's okay to pick up the wood and not talk, but we feel, we should talk, or we want to talk at the same time as something else. So that's what we do. All of us, me, you. So what Dogen is saying is not you should not talk when you're chopping wood. Simply that the most valuable thing is the untainted chopping wood. or I suppose you could say the untainted talking, or the untainted listening. But often when we're listening, we're also thinking. If we don't listen wholly, very few people really listen to what somebody says to them. Often they're thinking what they're going to say back. And some people don't hardly listen at all. They're preparing their next packet of information. So listen completely, talk completely, chop wood completely is untainted action. And of course, again, like yesterday, I'm creating kind of perfect world. It's not like that in perfection. It's all mixed up together, isn't it?
I have a question, in the session we have some rules because there's a lot of people in one place and it's much, it's much, if you have 3 or 4 people we can just do the stuff, but if you have more people it's good to have, otherwise there will be chaos.
Yeah.
But about talking and not talking, it's super hard because this is very intense social situation. I see very people I value a lot. There are some people I haven't met and I want to know. There are other people I haven't seen long time, and so the impulse for talking is quite strong. And yet,
what is for you may not be for everybody.
No, I try to be careful and check what's the other side, but I'm guessing. At the same time, yes, it seems that on the session, the space.
Separate from what you feel how you feel you should be like.
Okay.
What do you really want to be like? Do you always want to talk to somebody else?
No, it's stupid.
You feel you should?
I sometimes slip because probably my gut feeling is to shut up, but I'm afraid I will lose something. I have something to gain.
Yes.
To get to talk to someone nice.
Yeah. That's beautifully put, and it speaks for all of us. Yeah, when you're in a group of people, to be quiet, it's. I should find out about that person and chat to that person and all kinds of hidden agendas going on. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you have to be quiet.
It's so easier to be on session when the silence is Monday. It's also 5 days, but it's easier. No, I'm not saying better. I'm saying it's somewhat easier.
When you read this passage from Dogen,
Yeah.
first I had the image of somebody who is in a state of trance, like somebody dancing, and subject and object, and it's just the action. But then I thought I got it wrong because when somebody's in a trance, they're somehow disconnected.
Yes. We all live in trances all the time.
Yes. But
Our trance.
I don't think that's what he's talking about.
No, it's.
And I'm puzzled. How can you keep the connection and still be in action all the time?
Keep what connection?
To everything else and everybody else.
Oh, we're all connected to everyone else, everything, all the time.
I forget all the time.
Well, it's not necessary to remember. It's just true, isn't it? We might want to see that we're connected with everybody else, but that's not necessary. It's interesting you use the word trance because it's a very nice way to describe our normal lives. We're caught in a past situation or a future situation, or we're caught in a thought. And these are all like small trances. So you could say that enlightenment is to come out of all trances I mean, Nagarjuna quotes the Buddha as saying, "Give up all views."
Views.
Views, yeah. Come out of all trances.
I think trance would be like obsession because we're obsessed to do this, that, and we believe.
Can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's important.
Yeah. But one of my guy who runs our London group, Matt, is a hypnotherapist, and it was very interesting. I knew nothing about hypnotherapy. I thought it was, you're going to do what I want you to do. But actually, it's about trance, and I thought, yes, that's a very nice word to describe. I'm talking to somebody and they say something, it triggers something deep in me, and I'm in a trance. The energy's coming from what happened to me when I was a child, or So there's all these trances, some obsessions, and some very almost unconscious states that we click into because we're human. And we're all brought up by parents and society. And when we're little, we work out strategies to cope with living with these two big or one big person. And then we work out a strategy to cope, and then we keep doing that same strategy when we're 50 years old. Well, that strategy becomes a trance. We click in and start doing the same thing.
Habits, no?
Yeah.
Most time we living inconsciently, no?
Yeah.
Because if you are losing the key or something, you don't know where did you give it. Because you are searching for that, and because you was inconsciently. And that's all. Most time we living in habits.
Yes.
It's like losing the present moment.
Yes.
Of life.
Yes, exactly. And that doesn't mean, okay, I get it. So I've got to live in the present moment. So you can imagine somebody who wants to show that they're living in the present moment. I'm here, I'm here. Terrible. The only way to attain the goal is to give up the goal. The only way to be here is to give up being somewhere else. But that is a very, very difficult thing. So we have to practice it until we die. So giving up is not something that you do and then you've given up and that's it. You're giving up every day, every moment, every week, every year. So we practice as an everyday. So we drop off all our taintedness again and again and again and again and again. So it's kind of training. And we never reach a point where we're fully trained, because the training is the practice.
You said 4 views, and so far we discussed 3. Or
oh yeah, 4. I don't know. Doesn't tell me about 4 here.
4 is Zazen.
Yeah.
Zazen is this action. Zazen is action, even when sitting.
Yes, but in the Dogen things, the third is action and the fourth is asan.
Not reality.
Well, in his writings, his fourth point of view is an attempt to describe reality, and he often uses poems because he was a poet. You know, it must have been inside him when he was born, I think, because his poems are amazing. So he attempts to capture reality in words, or a poem or something. And often you see the last paragraph in one of his chapters saying something very poetic, very can't find the words. Like in the very famous 4 paragraphs in Genjo Koan, which is one of the first essays, chapters that he wrote. He describes these 4 points of view, and in his final statement of the 4, he says, yeah.
No,
With the wheat.
Flowers fall even though we love them. Weeds grow even though we hate them. And that's it. That is all. So that's his kind of attempt to say, well, you know, that's life. We're all human. We're all tainted. We're all in trances. But we can realise what life is about. So I'm not an academic or a philosopher, but I can still appreciate what philosophy is in that sense. It's just a way of thinking or looking at something, and it's helpful to realise that you can have different ways of thinking, not just one, but you can have 2 or 3 or 4, and you can switch around. Some people only want to look at the world in one way. They become quite rigid. You know, they have an opinion and a belief and they won't change it. Maybe this is not true anymore, but you could say that, for instance, Christian religion relies on one fixed belief in God and the power of God. And you have to believe. Belief is all. But in Dogen's philosophy, yeah, belief, great. Doubt, yes, important. So without the 2, you can't find out what the real situation is. Doesn't sound very practical, does it? It's not a set of instructions for living. It's a description of how things are. not how things should be, but how things are. If I were a poet, I could read you a poem. But I'm not, so I can't.
Peter Ralph is not here.
Pardon?
Peter Ralph is not here.
Ralph would read us a poem. It would go on and on and on. So, in order to see the way things are, and to be fully in action, we have to stop trying. At the same time, we make an effort in our lives to do whatever it is we're doing. The effort to do what we're doing now. It sounds very simple and stupid way to live, which is why my teacher took the name Gudo, stupid way.
I remember I was having a problem because I was doing fencing with the guy who was doing fencing for, I don't know, 20 years. And during the first months of studying, I was just doing the fencing. Very often it finished that his sword fell off his hand, and I was shocked that I can do it. It's so simple, just forgetting that, and to admit it, because okay, he's doing fencing 20 years, so I had the whole concept in my head that he's the master and I cannot never succeed, but in fact it was very simple. But it was possible only when I completely forgot all my constructions. So it was kind of interesting experience that you just have a mirror of your mind, but happening, let's say, in this way.
Yeah.
Very, very typical for martial arts. It's very difficult to spar with somebody who doesn't know how to spar.
What is
Spar, fight.
Sparring. Sparring.
And, because they don't follow the rules, they don't stand in a correct way, and the only thing to do is just to hit them hard. You know, just you have to hit them hard, because then they're frightened, and they lose their confidence, and then you can do your tricks on them. Of course, hard not meaning like that they fall, but show them that you are dominating the situation, that they should be afraid of you in some way. So this is a psychological concept today. It's fun. I will never do martial arts again in my life, because I just completely lost this. I would feel uncomfortable standing against somebody with my fists raised. You know, I completely lost this. Capacity to show my aggression.
I'll send you a copy of the book written that Goran wrote, because he's quite a high-ranking karate master.
What style?
Goju Ryu, I think.
Tough style.
Your description doesn't fit with what he says. He's talking about people who are doing something that they're both interested in. Maybe one's not as good as the other, but to fight somebody who's afraid of you and is not able to spar, that wouldn't fit in as far as I can see.
Well, my experiences from martial arts are very. Now, when I'm thinking of it,
Yes.
quite traumatic, I think.
Oh well.
It's just a lot
okay.
of fighting.
It is
always-
called martial art. You know, arts. It's not fighting.
It
It's
is.
not.
I mean, I'm not
Maybe
speaking
that's
about
why you
him.
gave
I'm
up.
speaking about my experiences. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying that my experience is the only valuable, but
When you spar, you're not really hitting him hard. You
Yes,
just
you
show
are.
him.
no, you are going full speed.
Yeah, you are.
But then it's full fight.
Yes, it is. It's called full contact karate. That's what I did. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, professional MMA fighters, they do very little of a full energy fight because they will be very often hurt. One of them.
Well,
I had broken.
Anybody who
I
wants-
had broken bones. I had some brain
Yeah.
thing, like you had
Concussion.
Concussion.
concussions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anybody who wants this book, Karate on a Cushion, it's really nice.
But there may be difference between martial sports and martial arts.
You are right. You are right. You are right.
Just-
Yes, you are right. But I also did some Goju Ryu and also very tough.
Mm.
I remember when people were coming from different styles, from different clubs of karate. So I was never involved in that, but my colleagues would. They were always wanted to show them the lesson, so they would
I
beat
see.
them up.
It,
I mean, they would just kill them. I mean, they would.
sounds like the best decision you made was to stop.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Well done.
After 25 years of doing that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
When you said like the stuff of like people, there may be people that want to show that they are in present moment. Isn't that children? Like, you know, they value the thing, and they know they. I think they experience time differently than older person. Or if I compare me to a child, let's say 10 years old, you know, everything is magical. There's a lot of possibilities. And you know, older are boring, so isn't it like kind of experiencing like this valuing this present moment and this action, as you said?
Well, we haven't pulled them out of the present fully yet. They have to do a few more years at school and so on before they become pulled out of the present. So if we don't pull them out of the present, they're in the present.
I can say for the Samuel, he's waiting until the present moment is out that he gets to the display.
Yeah.
So the current
Yeah,
kids,
yeah.
they're just
Yeah. That's right.
most valuable time is still here.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going to happen to the world? Thank you.
Thank you. May I ask you, do you think like what brought us together, all of us?
Yeah.
Is it this feeling like we intuitively value this action, or we experience it, and we were looking for it in the world, and we found some kind of satisfaction in the other?
Could be.
right? Because we're doing it for years. It's not very, no benefits really coming out of it. Let's say in a human sense,
Yeah.
but we still do it. We don't know, okay, we have some beliefs, yeah. Maybe I believe that I will be better, more cultivated, as you said, which is bullshit. But yeah, still. But maybe that's, we know that this action, it got value.
Yeah. I knew what I experienced action before I discovered Buddhism.
Yeah.
In my mountaineering.
Right.
I didn't know what it was. I couldn't say what it was. I couldn't give value to it. And then when I met Nishijima, what he explained to me described to me something which I already experienced and started to value.
Yeah, I get it. But it's the same thing as Stefan, who asked when the situation is not that extreme, right? Because you can put this thinking aside when it comes, maybe in hiking it's this like adrenaline, like you can die in a moment. So you suppress your thinking naturally. But no, it's not that. No, it's not this.
No.
It's something similar you experienced in Zazen?
Yeah, same. That's why I started sitting.
Okay. And you get it from the first time you sit?
First time I sat, yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, I was lucky actually. Yes, because I wasn't reading books about Buddhism or looking for Zen or anything. Just I wanted something to do at the weekend, and I went to these lectures and what Nishijima said about action, and we sat, and I thought, oh, that's just what I like, just what I value. Yeah.
But on the other hand, very subtle.
Subtle.
Yeah. Like you cannot name it. What is it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't these big words like love, compassion? Isn't that?
No.
More you talk about it, more you lose it. The more you talk about it, more you lose the point.
Yeah.
So I stopped talking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.